You won't believe how a single parade made me money in the stock market. I'm talking about the Trump Army 250th birthday parade, an event that brought tanks, jets, fireworks, and unexpectedly a boost to my portfolio. Let's break down exactly how I spotted the opportunity, which stocks I bought, and why this parade was more than just a show of military might. When news broke that President Trump would headline a massive military parade in Washington, D.C. for the Army's 250th anniversary, I immediately started tracking the companies behind the scenes. This wasn't just a patriotic celebration, it was a logistical and technological spectacle with millions spent on hardware, security, and media. I knew there would be winners in the stock market. First, I looked at the companies directly tied to the parade's funding and logistics. Reports confirmed that Amazon, Oracle, Lockheed Martin, Palantir, and even Coinbase were among the big sponsors and suppliers for the event. These are not just tech giants, they're also deeply embedded in defense, logistics, and government contracts. When the Army and the White House want to put on a show, they call in the best, and these companies get the checks. I started with Lockheed Martin. The parade featured Abrams tanks, Bradley fighting vehicles, and flyovers by the Air Force Thunderbirds. Lockheed Martin is a key supplier for all of these. The company's stock had been trading sideways for a few months, but as soon as the parade prep ramped up, I noticed unusual options activity and a spike in defense sector ETFs. I bought shares and call options, expecting that the media coverage and renewed focus on military strength would drive investor interest. Sure enough, Lockheed Martin rallied the week before, as analysts highlighted the company's visibility and the potential for new contracts. Next up was Palantir. This AI-driven defense contractor was mentioned as both a sponsor and a technology partner for the parade. Palantir's software is used for logistics, security, and crowd management. Exactly the kind of thing you need when you're moving tanks through a city and monitoring thousands of people. The stock had already been on a tear, but I saw the parade as a catalyst. I bought in a few weeks before the event, and as the pre-parade commentary trended on social media, Palantir shares spiked. The company's CEO even gave an interview about supporting national events and public safety, which sent the stock up another 5%. Amazon was a less obvious play, but I noticed they were listed as a sponsor and were handling a lot of the event's logistics, from cloud computing for live streams to on-the-ground delivery. Amazon Web Services is the backbone for many government operations, and the company's involvement in a high-profile event like this is a signal to investors that they remain the go-to partner for federal contracts. I picked up shares right before the parade, and as the event drew millions of online viewers, Amazon stock was trending on Reddit. It wasn't a moonshot, but it was a solid, low-risk gain. Oracle was another winner. As a sponsor and a longtime government contractor, Oracle's cloud and database services were likely running behind the scenes, handling everything from security to data analytics. The company's stock had been lagging, but the pre-parade coverage gave it a PR boost. After the event, I am hoping Monday Oracle shows a spike. Coinbase was a wild card. I saw their name pop up as a sponsor, and while the company isn't directly tied to defense, its involvement in a patriotic, high-profile event gave it a credibility boost with institutional investors. Bitcoin was also rallying that week, so I bought a small position in Coinbase. The stock popped with a rise in Bitcoin from 104,000 to 110K. With the recent conflict in the Middle East, this trade was not too fruitful as Bitcoin has retreated back. But it wasn't just about the sponsors. I also looked at companies that benefit from military displays and patriotic surges. Scott's Miracle-Gro, for example, was listed as a sponsor. I know it sounds odd, but think about the optics. Lush green lawns on the National Mall, perfect for TV? Scott's gets a ton of free advertising during these events. I also played the defense ETFs, the iShares US Aerospace and Defense ETF, ITA, and the SPDR S&P Aerospace and Defense ETF, XAR, both hold Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, and other key contractors. With the parade dominating headlines this past week, these ETFs saw increased volume and a steady climb. I bought call options on ITA and sold them at the end of last week, pocketing a solid gain. What's important here isn't just the stocks I picked, but the process. Whenever a major national event is announced, especially one involving the military, technology, or infrastructure, I look for the companies supplying the hardware, software, and logistics. These events are expensive, highly visible, and often lead to new contracts or renewed public interest. The market responds to headlines, and if you're early, you can ride the wave. Let's talk numbers. Lockheed Martin was up 4% in the week leading up to the parade. Palantir jumped 7% from my entry, Amazon was up 2%, Oracle 3%, and Coinbase was flat. The defense ETFs each gained around 3%. Scott's Miracle-Gro right now is a smaller win, but it all adds up. In total, my parade trades are up on paper under 5% on the capital I allocated, far better than sitting on the sidelines. Of course, not every trade was a winner. I took a small loss on a speculative options play in Raytheon, which didn't move as much as I'd hoped. But the key is diversification and discipline. I didn't go all in on any single stock, and I set stop losses to protect my gains. What can you learn from this? First, always follow the money. When the government or a major organization is about to spend tens of millions on an event, look at the supply chain. Who's providing the tanks, the tech, the logistics, the security? Those companies will see a short-term boost and sometimes a longer-term benefit as well. Second, pay attention to media coverage and public sentiment. The Trump Army Parade was controversial with protests and debates over the cost. But for investors, controversy often means volatility, and volatility creates opportunity. I watched social media, tracked trending tickers, and looked for unusual options activity. When I saw a volume spike in Lockheed and Palantir, I knew something was up. Third, don't ignore the power of branding. Companies like Scott's Miracle-Gro and Coinbase weren't obvious defense plays, but their sponsorship put them in the spotlight. Sometimes all it takes is a well-timed PR boost to move a stock. Fourth, use ETFs to your advantage. If you're not comfortable picking individual stocks, sector ETFs like ITA and XAR give you broad exposure to the defense and aerospace industries. They're less volatile than single stocks and still benefit from the overall trend. Finally, have a plan. I went into these trades with clear entry and exit points. I didn't get greedy, and I didn't chase stocks after they ran. Discipline is what separates winners from losers in the market. If you're looking for more insights like this, real-time trade ideas, deep dives on upcoming events, and portfolio reviews, check out my Substack. I share my research, my trades, and my lessons learned every week. Subscribers get access to exclusive content, live Q&As, and a community of like-minded investors. Don't just watch from the sidelines. Join us and start making smarter moves with your money. As the fireworks faded over Washington and the tanks rolled out, I will look to close my trades on Monday and take my profits and start looking for the next big opportunity. The market never sleeps, and neither do I. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what events you're tracking for your next big trade. See you in the next video.